Game 1 of the 2008 World Series on Fox.
And welcome to the Chevy pregame show on Fox. Chevy, an American revolution. And more specifically, greetings from Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, for Game 1 of the World Series between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Tampa Bay Rays. As we await the first pitch, Fox Sports invites you to take a historical look back on the role baseball has played throughout the course of our great country's history. With help from two-time Academy Award-winning actor Michael Douglas and Senators John McCain and Barack Obama.
Throughout our history, this country has faced times of peril. But standing by our side as it does tonight has been baseball. When our young nation was divided against itself, the bleeding battlefields often gave way to this game.
It received its baptism in the bloody days of our nation's direst danger, when soldiers, North and South, were striving to forget their foes. Albert Spalding.
When depression struck down the roaring 20s, Americans faced a frigidly bleak and uncertain future.
Next to religion, baseball has furnished a greater impact on American life than any other institution. President Hoover.
December 7, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
A month after speaking these words, with our country on the threshold of a war unlike anything mankind had seen, it was a simple letter which underlined the basic need for something normal.
I honestly feel that it would be best for the country to keep baseball going. President Roosevelt's green light letter.
16 years before he marched on Washington with Dr. King, it was a baseball player who showed the nation the definition of courage.
He was a freedom rider before freedom rides, Dr. Martin Luther King on Jackie Robinson.
After a shocking attack shook this country to its core, we were afraid. But for many, one pitch on a baseball field showed us that our fears, although vivid and real, would pass. Baseball will never heal or solve our problems. When the last out is made, they still remain. But for 9 innings, no matter the troubles we face, we can be reminded of all that we as a nation have been through, all that is good and all that can be.
I think that both baseball
and the country will endure. John F. Kennedy.
We would like to thank two-time Oscar winner Michael Douglas and Senators John McCain and Barack Obama for reminding us all how this game, baseball, has always been such a unifying thread in our country. And the Fall Classic, a thread that can bind generations. It is happening here tonight at the 104th World Series. They all want to change the world, the baseball world as we know it. And it is working because very few people saw this coming. Are you kidding me? The Tampa Bay Rays have arrived with bells on. It is the biggest stage, a World Series showdown with the Philadelphia Phillies. They dropped the devil from their act, and the baseball gods have delivered them to the promised land of October. As we welcome you to St. Petersburg. I am Jeannie Zalasko. It's Game 1 of the World Series. You might know these guys. Former manager Kevin Kennedy, former ball player Mark Grace, and this is what they're playing for, guys.
Gloves only, too.
The Commissioner's Trophy. Yeah, don't touch it. Be very careful. It goes to the next world champ. Will it be the Phillies, who haven't been in this position in 14 years, or the Rays, who have never, ever been here? Let's go with the Phillies first.
Well, let's take the Phillies. They got hot once again in September. They went right past the Mets for the second year in a row, but this year they're playing with more confidence in the postseason, and this year they have a guy they didn't have last year. That's the perfect man at the end of the ballgame. That's Brad Lidge, the #1 bullpen in the National League. They've got the #1 home run hitting team in the National League, led by Ryan Howard's 48 home runs. That led all of Major League Baseball, and his RBIs to go with it. And they've got speed. They can beat you with speed, led by Jimmy Rollins and Shane Victorino.
All right, Mark Grace, how about your Tampa Bay Rays?
Well, I remember back in spring training talking with both of you guys. I picked the Tampa Bay Rays represent the American League in the World Series. I know you guys remember that.
Oh, yeah.
I got the tape right here.
They are the greatest story in the entire baseball world, and they just continue to impress. They passed every test. They kept saying they're going to fade in June, they're going to fade in July. It's October, and they're here.
And you got your cowbell, and I have a razor if you want a mohawk. Are you ready for that? I know you saw this coming because the historical trend, right?
Well, if you
clearly
just look
the
at the
numbers
numbers
showed you, right? Give me a break. Get out of here. This is a worst to first turnaround. This club has literally done it. Look at the average record of the last 10 years. Finished 9 out of 10 seasons last place. Kevin, this didn't just happen overnight.
Well, you know what? It started in spring training with Joe Madden and his ball club. Joe Madden talked about accountability, playing hard, and winning in spring training for a team that's always, for the most part, in last place is important. And this time, this is what happened right here. Elliot Johnson, a kid trying to make the ball club, a triple A second baseman, knocks over the Yankee young catcher that played double A and broke his arm. So the Yankees retaliated. It was a clean play. He didn't get the kid to baseline. So what, the Yankees retaliated 4 days later, and here's Johnny Gomes backing up Iwamura, who gets knocked over by Shane Duncan. Cheap shots right and left. Well, here's James Shields later on the season in June. Coco Chris the day before had a hard slide and took out Iwamura as well. James Shields retaliated in the second inning of that game, June the 5th, knowing he would get kicked out, but it was more important to make a statement. We're not going to take it anymore from the Yankees. We're not going to take it anymore for the Red Sox. And guess what? They did it by playing baseball, and they're here right now in the World Series.
And the Tampa Bay Rays are led by youth. They are led by Evan Longoria, first-round pick a year ago, and B.J. Upton. These guys have been unbelievable guys in the postseason. Home runs by two guys, more than any American leaguers in the history of the game in the postseason. These guys continue to impress. They're getting good at the same time, and the more the pressure, the better these young guys play. And this is all the pressure.
Yeah, not an ordinary ball club playing in not so ordinary ballpark. We have a white roof you want to look at. 4 catwalks up there. You're counting them, Mr. Grace. If you hit a ball off one of the 2 lowest catwalks, it's a home run. Now, we know both these clubs can hit home runs. Lots of concerns, though, about the Phillies. They haven't played in about a week here. We know recent history. We saw what happened with the Rockies last year with the Red Sox. They just could not hang.
Yeah, and last year the Rockies were overmatched by the Boston Red Sox, and they got swept out. But I was just talking to Jimmy Rollins, and Jimmy Rollins told me that, Gracie, I needed those 6 days off because I needed to go find my line drive swing, and Ryan Howard needed to go find his home run swing. So I think the Phillies are going to be more than ready.
All right, I know you were talking about the Rays kids. Let's talk about one of the Phillies kids that's going to be on the mound tonight.
Well, Cole Hamels is only 24 years old. He's got one of the best changeups in Major League Baseball, but unlike his counterpart and teammate Jamie Moyer, who throws about an 83 fastball, he throws an above-average fastball, 92, 93. So if you're sitting on change, 76, 77 miles an hour, he'll pop a couple of fastballs back-to-back in to go back and get the outside corner with that changeup. He was 3-0 in the postseason so far, in the NLCS MVP.
All right, guys, who wins and in how many?
Well, the home field advantage is going to play big, and the Rays are 33 games over 500 here at the Trop. They are my pick to win the World Series.
Get your cowbell. We can work on the Mohawk. What about you, Mr. Kennedy?
All right, I'm going to go with the Phillies in 6 games, and it's if Cole Hamels wins tonight, he's got to come up big because he's their ace. I think he will. And I think Ryan Howard, as streaky as he is, he hasn't done a whole lot so far. He's due to go off in the World Series
And
here.
for the record, Gracie will not be with us in Philadelphia. We would like to welcome back our really good friends at Taco Bell to the World Series. Last year, if you remember, Taco Bell made a promise that created such a buzz, even the players were talking about it.
You said if somebody steals a base in the World Series.
Anybody, first on the base. One first steal a base. Somebody does. Taco Bell. One taco to everybody in there.
That day?
I don't know, man. That day.
What the hell are you talking about? It's got to be that day.
All right, we guys, we're pleased to know the World Series, the biggest moment, right? Well, of course, it deserves the biggest taco giveaway ever. If any player from the Phillies or the Rays steals a base, everyone in America gets a free taco on Tuesday. Yeah, October 28th from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. For more information, go to tacobell.com. Hey, we are fast approaching first pitch. This franchise may be a fall classic rookie, but look at these fans. They have this postseason act down. They're ready for game 1 of the World Series. We will see you post-game, but we leave you with the thoughts of those on the brink of greatness.
That's game 1 of chasing the dream. You know, the dream as a team.
the reason why we play baseball.
Playing Little League, it was always my dream to, playing the World Series. Realistically, you never really thought it would ever happen.
It's a dream come true. It's surreal. I don't think it's really hit me.
Never did I expect that I'd be here sitting talking to you about the World Series 23 years old.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of anticipation. There's going to be a lot of nerves, and if there's not, something's wrong.
We are in the World Series. It's a dream come true, and I'm enjoying every single minute of it.
The World Series on Fox. Game 1 is next.
Set for game number 1 of this World Series. And right now we join public address announcer David Pigman.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's starting lineups for Game 1 of the 2008 World Series. First, for the National League champion Philadelphia Phillies, managed by number 41, Charlie Manuel. Batting first, shortstop, number 11, Jimmy Rollins. Batting second, right fielder, number 28, Jason Worth. Batting third, second baseman, number 26, Chase Utley. Batting fourth, first baseman, number 6, Ryan Howard. Batting fifth, left fielder, number 5, Pat Burrell. Batting sixth, center fielder, number 8, Shane Victorino. Batting seventh, third baseman, number 7, Pedro Feliz. Batting eighth, designated hitter, number 27, Chris Coast. Batting ninth and currently in the bullpen, catcher number 51, Carlos Ruiz. Tonight's starting pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies is number 35, Cole Hamels. Now the starting lineup for your 2008 American League champions, the Tampa Bay Rays. Your Rays are managed by number 70, Joe Madden. Leading off for your Rays, your second baseman, number 1, Akinori Iwamura. Batting second, your center fielder, number 2, B.J. Upton. Batting third, your first baseman, number 23, Carlos Pena. Batting cleanup, your third baseman, number 3, Evan Longoria. Batting fifth, your left fielder, number 13, Carl Crawford. Batting sixth, your designated hitter, number 16, Willie Iber. Batting 7th, and currently in the bullpen, your catcher, number 30, Deoner Navarro. Batting 8th, your right fielder, number 18, Ben Zobrist. And batting 9th, your shortstop, number 8, Jason Bartlett. And warming up in the bullpen for your Rays, number 19, Scott Kazmir. With over 100 million records sold, they're one of the biggest recording artists in the world. Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem is Tampa Bay's hometown boy Nick Carter, along with Howie, Brian, and AJ. Please welcome the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, say, can you see? Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the Rockies' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
When we come back, Tim and I will set up Game 1 and this World Series on the other side of the break. And welcome back to the Chevy pregame show on Fox. Chevy, an American Revolution. We get ready for World Series game number 1 and the matchup between the Philadelphia Phillies representing the National League and the Tampa Bay Rays from the American League. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Joe Buck. Tim McCarver is coming right up. First, we take the Tampa Bay Rays and we highlight what has been a remarkable and unexpected ride to this World Series. Why? Well, because in 9 of their previous 10 seasons, this team finished last. Last year, they had baseball's worst record. They lost almost 100 games. Over the offseason, they dropped the word devil from their team name, and the Rays in Vegas were a 150-to-1 shot to win the World Series. And now, Tim McCarver, I'll ask you this. Here's a Tampa Bay Rays team that is favored coming into this series against Philadelphia. How do they win this World Series?
Well, Joe, you hear the same old refrain every year. Pitching, pitching, pitching. Here in Tampa Bay, they have it. What do they have? They have depth, talent, and youth. No starter is older than 26 years old. They have a rock-solid bullpen, And a guy who is a weapon for Joe Madden and the Tampa Bay Rays tonight that was not a weapon necessarily going into the league championship series is the phenomenal David Price.
Just 23 years old and got those 4 huge outs in Game 7 of the league championship series. So now we switch our focus to the Philadelphia Phillies. Here's a franchise that had played 125 years coming into this season. They had won World Championship back in 1980. They're in the Fall Classic for the first time since 1993. And I'll ask you, sir, how did the Philadelphia Phillies win this World Series?
I think it's not overstating it by saying the Phillies have to have the game tonight, because after Cole Hamels, there's more of a drop-off than there is with the Tampa Bay Rays.
You look at what Cole Hamels did in that NLCS. The numbers are overwhelming. And remember, whether you talk about the rotation for the Phillies or you talk about their bullpen, they have it at the front end with Hamels tonight, and they have the game's premier shutdown closer in Brad Lidge at the back end. So we get ready for Game 1 of this 2008 World Series. It's the Phillies representing the National League, and on display some of the game's best hitters. Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins, and of course Chase Utley, his double play partner. They can bang it. And so can the Tampa Bay Rays. And the combination of B.J. Upton and Evan Longoria, they have combined for 13 home runs this postseason. We are glad you're with us. It's Game 1 of the World Series, next on Fox. And once again, welcome back to the Chevy pregame show on Fox. Chevy, an American Revolution. I would like to know who's in the starting lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies, wouldn't you? Let's ask a Hall of Famer. Here's Mike Schmidt.
Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt, and I'm honored to present to you Charlie Manuel's starting lineup for the 2008 World Series. For the Philadelphia Phillies, it's Jimmy Rollins at shortstop. The reigning National League MVP, Jason Worth, will be in right field. Chase, I was born to play baseball. Utley will be at second base. Ryan Howard will hit cleanup. Soon to take over the MVP role for Jimmy Rollins in the National League. Pat Burrell, a key player in this World Series, hitting fifth and playing left field. Shane the Flying Hawaiian Victorino in center field. Pedro Feliz, one of the greatest defensive third basemen I've seen in a long time at third base. Chris Coase will be DHing here in the American League Park. And the steady catcher, Carlos Ruiz, will be handling a stylish left-hander, Cole Hamels. Should be a wonderful World Series. It's exciting here in Tampa.
Well, October baseball has delivered everything you've ever wished for and then some. The Philadelphia Phillies finally back in the World Series after a 15-year absence. While the Tampa Bay Rays Cinderella season continues tonight. They're in the World Series after knocking off the defending champion Red Sox in 7 games in the ALCS. Well, Phillies and Rays fans continue to see moments they've always wished for. Well, we'll soon find out. It's brought to you by Traverse, the all-new crossover from Chevy. It's everything you've ever wished for, and then some. Hey, coming up, it's a baseball game, and it's Game 1 of the World Series. Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. For World Series game number 1 in the matchup between the Philadelphia Phillies representing the National League and the Tampa Bay Rays from the American League. Here are the 4 keys to the game here for Game 1, Mr. McCarver.
For the Philadelphia Phillies, it's line up behind Cole Hamels. That's what the Phillies have done. He has started both the League Division Series and the League Championship Series with 7 days rest, and that is the same tonight. He won the clincher in Los Angeles last Wednesday. And as far as the Rays are concerned, pounce on that home field advantage.
And I think to follow up, continue on with what you were doing against the Boston Red Sox. We'll talk about this as this game unfolds. But I believe it's going to be tough for the Phillies to dust it all off and get ready here after a 6-day layoff. Our opening pitch brought to you tonight by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. And they help to bring you World Series baseball from St. Petersburg, Florida. And here is the very good left-hander. Came up with the, at least in the Mets organization, Scott Kazmir.
Yeah, the winningest left-handed pitcher, the winningest pitcher in Tampa Ray history.
And here is his sprint pitcher profile. Give us some more info.
Yeah, Scott has got to show that slider early in the count. He did that against Boston. He was encouraged to do that by Jim Hickey and Joe Madden. He hurt his elbow in spring training, but he does have an improved changeup as a result of that because he couldn't come through on the slider. And he must show those pitches inside the right-handed batters, and that, to me, is one of the key points in his success tonight.
Who are the men in blue here tonight? Well, the answer is the crew chief behind home plate, Tim Welke. At first is Kerwin Danley. At second, Field and Colbreth. At third is Tom Hallion. Down the left field line is Jeff Kellogg, and down the right field line is Tim Sheeta. And here is Jimmy Rollins, who did not have a good NLCS except for that home run that he popped in Game 5 leading off. They throw that baseball out of play as the World Series starts with a strike. Flash bulbs popping all around Tropicana Field as one fan after another talking outside the stadium, talking down around the field, even players. Can you believe here we are, October 22nd, hosting Game 1 of the World Series in St. Petersburg. Rollins shoots one down the right field line. Going to get it is Zobrist, one out. That moment, first pitch, captured by so many cameras here in this sold-out Tropicana Field. Dusting off places, Tim. They didn't even know they had, so they could sell seats.
That's right. Take the tarp off. Seat some people.
Here's Jason Worth. There are some seats with obstructed views. There are some seats tucked away in this stadium. As that pitch misses up and away for a ball, and here is another right-handed test for Scott Kazmir. That's an obstructed view. 2-0.
Jason Worth representing as we look at the Stingrays in right center field, but Jason Worth representing perhaps the biggest threat against left-handed pitching that Tampa Bay can throw. 16 home runs, led the majors.
And hit .310 against left-handed pitching. It's 3-0. Utley on deck. As you look at some of the fun facts of this ballpark. Paging Evelyn Wood. Can you speed read that? A strike is into Jason Worth. It's 3-1. We'll go back to that. One out, nobody on. Utley on deck, and Worth takes another.
Good pitch on the outside corner. Predictable pitch. Right there.
Now the walk with one out. Now the fun facts before Chase Utley bats. Stadium opened in 1990. It was originally called Florida Suncoast Dome. It became the Thunderdome in 1993. I think they filmed a Mad Max movie in here. Hosted NHL's Tampa Bay Lightning from 93 to 96. Final Four in 99. Biggest crowd, 47,000 plus for a New Kids on the Block concert. They're back touring now. And a 10,000-gallon Ray tank, which holds 20 cow-nose Rays out in right center field. One on, one out. Here's Utley. And there are the Rays. And here's the Phillies second baseman. Why not? This is the most lopsided shift we have ever seen for Chase Utley, at least this postseason, certainly, where they have left the entire left side of the infield for the most part open. Longoria, the third baseman on that first pitch, was shaded up towards second base.
Maybe they thought Ryan Howard was the hitter.
I mean, are you surprised?
Well, there are some National League teams that do play that shift. Joe Madden does on the infield there, interestingly, straight away in the outfield.
And obviously Joe Madden did it against David Ortiz of the Boston Red Sox. And Utley certainly is a pull-type hitter. But he can run, and if you're going to leave that entire side of the field wide open, it's got to be tempting for Utley just to lay one down like he tried to do on the first pitch. It's 0-2.
Good fastball from Kashmir. Scott has not thrown a breaking ball yet.
Off the hands and fouled straight back. Utley during the regular season hit 33 home runs, drove home 104 runs, hit 292. Started out the first part of the season and people thought it was going to be MV3. 3 consecutive MVP awards between Howard, Rollins, and then Utley. Utley tapered off, but he is still one of their big threats. Down and in, 1-2.
First breaking ball stays inside. Jason Worth with 20 stolen bases in 21 attempts as this breaking ball goes around the plate.
Check swing on a ball in the dirt. They appeal, no swing, and it's 2-2.
Missing with the slider inside, and now the slider down, and Utley held up.
Utley rips one into right field at the track, at the wall. It's a good start for the Phillies. 2-0 here in the first. That'll shake off the rust.
Chase Utley falling behind in the fastball, and then he missed the 2 sliders, did Kashmir, and now Utley getting a fastball on the inside part of the plate and pops it at the trot.
Now Ryan Howard's trying to blast one, strike one. Howard now with nobody on, 1 out. A leadoff fly ball to right by Jimmy Rollins. Worth threw a walk on a 3-2 pitch, and Utley went deep. And now a ground ball right into the teeth of the shifted defense. 2 out. How about for Chase Utley, 34th player to hit a home run in his first World Series at bat. Bobby Kelty, the last one to do it in 2007 Game 4 for the Red Sox. Phillies jump out in front here tonight, and now Burrow takes a fastball for a strike.
Chase Utley with a very important home run against the Los Angeles Dodgers in the opener. A 2-run shot off Derek Lowe. The Phillies won that game 3-2 and did not look back.
Out in front of that pitch. 0-2. In case you're wondering and you're just watching a Tampa Bay Rays game for the first time, what's the deal with the cowbells? Their owner is Stu Sternberg, and he grew up in the Canarsie section of Brooklyn. As the 0-2 pitch is on the inside corner, the half inning is over. tell you more about Stu Sternberg and the Cowbells. What a start for Philadelphia. A one-out walk and a blast. 2-0 Phillies after a half.
Akinori, Iwamura, second base, lead off.
B.J. Upton, center field, batting second.
Carlos Peña, first base, third.
Evan Longoria, third base, fourth.
Carl Crawford, batting left field. Oops, sorry, one take. So, Carl Crawford, left field, batting fifth. Willie Alba, DH, batting sixth.
Dylan Navarro, catcher, batting seventh.
Ben Zobrist, batting eighth, right field.
And the last guy on that list. We'll show you the rest of that group. There's only one guy left in the lineup, and that is Jason Bartlett, the shortstop, batting ninth. So off we go in the bottom of the first. And a 2-0 start for Cole Hamels against Iwamura.
Talked about Scott Kazmir up and away to right-handed batters. Last Wednesday night against the Dodgers, Cole Hamels had problems in the first 2 innings, but he corrected it. He could make moves when on the mound and adjusting as well as anybody.
And from 2-0 to 2-2. We thank the Rays for lining up and doing that. Very young, agreeable team.
What did Carl say? One take?
One take, that's all you get. Everybody else was leaving. Here's the 2-2. It's over but low, full count. Give them a couple years of success. We'll never get that again.
Right.
Iwamura trying to get it started for the Rays, and he grounds one to Howard. A race to the bag, and Iwamura beats Hamels and Howard.
Iwamura led the Rays in infield hits with 28. Hamels falling off to the third base side. Howard playing deeply, and Howard meets Hamels. Not a good start for the Phillies.
It is indeed an infield hit. And now one on, nobody out for B.J. Upton. And what a postseason it's been. 7 home runs. Ball one. Only Barry Bonds and Carlos Beltran have hit more home runs in any one postseason. They hit 8. BJ has hit 7. He hit only 9 during the regular season. 1 ball, 1 strike. So not only is it Upton, but it's a lineup that has pounded home runs during the postseason. They've hit 22 after hitting 180 during the regular season. The Phillies hit 214 as a team. The 1-1. Check swing, ground ball. Utley, Rollins, double play. Upton slow to get out of the box as he was jammed, and it turns into a 4-6-3 double play.
Almost all check swings, you don't get out of the box properly. Kind of shocks the system. And for that reason, beautifully turned by Utley and Rollins. See Upton kind of spinning his wheels after that check swing.
And so now with 2 out, nobody on, it's Carlos Peña. And just like that, Cole Hamels erases that mistake on the ball hit by the leadoff man, Iwamura.
Double plays do that.
With 2 out, Peña ready to rip. Strike 1. How about the sprint pitcher profile for this left-hander? And he's a good one, Cole Hamels.
World-class changeup, actually more effective against right-handed batters than left-handers. And we talked about that up and away, but a great mental approach, one of the best for any young pitcher in the majors.
Ground ball right side. That's the shortstop. Rollins way on the other side of the base. We go to the second here in game one. Home run by Utley, 2-0 Philadelphia. Second inning, 2-run shot by Chase Utley in the first. It's 2-0 Philadelphia. Here's Shane Victorino, then Pedro Feliz and Chris Coast, who's the other catcher for Philadelphia in the DH tonight. That's down and in ball one. Victorino has the Phillies franchise record now for RBIs in a single postseason with his 11. And he has a couple of huge home runs for Philadelphia. The grand slam against CC Sabathia in the division series, and then the game-tying 2-run shot against the Dodgers in game 4. Here's a 2-0. There's a strike. 2-1 from Kazmir.
9 of 11 of those RBIs came with 2 outs.
A 2-1 from Kazmir. And grounded back up the middle. Iwamura cannot make the play. It's an infield hit. And the Phillies put their leadoff man on here in the second. Let's talk about the strange ground rules here at Tropicana Field because of the catwalks above the playing field. Any catwalk over foul territory, ball hits it, dead ball. If it hits a catwalk over fair territory, either of the 2 lower catwalks, which they call C and D, it's a home run if it's in fair territory. Either of the 2 upper catwalks, A or B, it's a ground rule double if it comes back into play in fair territory. The ball returns to the playing field. Ground rule double again if it hits the catwalks in foul territory. It's a foul ball. But we have a better description, and we'll try to get that to you here in the top of the second as Pedro Feliz takes a ball. Feliz now coast next, and Pedro is just 5 for 26 this postseason. Longtime San Francisco Giant takes ball 2, 2-0. Part of what Charlie Manuel told us before the game and the scouting report he got was that Kazmir early can get wild. And they want to let Scott Kazmir work his way into trouble and then take advantage of it. So it happened with Victorino up on the count and a base hit, and now it's 3-0 on Feliz.
It was also 2-0 to Victorino. And what we've seen, Joe, is we've seen 2 left-handed pitchers in the first inning and a half fall toward the third base side. And in Hamels' case, late to cover first base. In Kazmir's case, he couldn't recover in time for the ball hit by Victorino.
Here's a 3-0 pitch to Feliz.
Will not be swinging.
A free pitch, and it's a strike on a fastball. We'll show you those rings above the playing field here at Tropicana Field. We get a chance here. They look like, but we can graphically show you what I was trying to explain a moment ago. Here's a 3-1. Victorino was going, and he read the move and came back.
I think it's safe to say the players on these teams looking for different rings.
Very nice. Here is a 3-1. That's inside. So a hit, then a walk, and now the moment you've all been waiting for. There's the A ring. That's above the field. It's never been hit, but you never know. There's the B ring. It's above the field. If it remains up on the catwalk, it's a ground rule double. If it returns to the field, the ball is in play. Fair territory, if it hits the C ring, it's a home run. Foul territory, dead ball. The D ring, again, fair territory, home run. Foul territory, dead ball. 2 on, nobody out, and they almost caught Victorino straying too far.
You've heard that adage about baseball, never make the first out at third base. Well, with first and second and nobody out, you can't make the first out at second base. Good quick move by Kazmir, very close. That was close.
Whoa. That's worth another look, at least, on that same replay. Victorino popped up. I think might have been surprised that he was called safe. There's a strike to Coast.
That's a daylight play. When the pitcher sees daylight between the shortstop covering the bag and the base runner, he turns and throws to second base, knowing the shortstop will be there.
2 on, nobody out. The 0-1 pitch. Strike 2. Let's take another look at that pickoff play.
See the daylight? Well, Scott Kazmir did, and a quick throw, and Victorino diving back. I'll tell you, if he called him out, I don't think the Phillies could complain.
Oh, I think the right arm was blocked.
Yeah.
Getting back to the bag. Coast lays off. The ball up and away. Runner at second is Victorino. Runner at first is Pedro Feliz. At the plate is Chris Coast, who hit .296 against lefties this year. And he pops it up into shallow right. Zobrist is there for out number 1. Carlos Ruiz, the number 9 batter, will be the hitter. I started to talk about the cowbells that they ring here at the Trop. Stuart Sternberg from Canarsie section of Brooklyn. He grew up hearing stories of Hilda Chester, famous for ringing a cowbell at Ebbets Field, and then when he saw the SNL skit, Christopher Walken, we need more cowbell. He fell in love with it, showed the skit on the replay board here in the stadium, and it kind of caught on after that. And so now everybody brings them to this park.
That was an interesting meeting on the mound with Jason Bartlett, the shortstop, in. Right-handed batter up there. It's dangerous for your shortstop to hold Victorino on right here. So Bartlett is moving in the hole, but there's a real possibility of Victorino trying to steal third with 1 out.
Started and stopped, and Ruiz takes the ball down and in. Ruiz so far this postseason is 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Hit .313 during the NLCS. Boy, Victorino has just got a gigantic lead back at second base, even though he came awfully close to getting picked off.
The thing about that is, with Iwamura playing towards second base for the double play, cheating a little bit toward second, Ruiz can hit the hole to the left of Iwamura. Got a good stroke to right field.
Well, Iwamura moved prior to that last pitch, because before it, Victorino was another 5 or 6 feet over toward third base, and I think you're right. There's no doubt that the Rays are aware that Victorino could swipe third. These are 2 teams, by the way, hooking up in the World Series who both run a lot. Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. Now Iwamura comes in, but no throw. Ruiz during the regular season drove home 31 runs. He's left 15 runners on base during the postseason. He has 2 out there now. And while Kazmir is bothered by Victorino back at second base, he's fallen behind Ruiz 3-1.
Well, you can't pay attention to second base and home plate at the same time.
There they go. And Ruiz fouls it back. Both runners, both Victorino and Pedro Feliz, had great jumps. But Ruiz on a 3-1 pitch went after it and fouled it.
You know, that's a break, Joe, that doesn't seem like a break. A 3-1 pitch. Ruiz had one to hammer. He fouls it back. That is exactly right. They steal second and third easily.
They were going on a 3-1 count. Probably going on a 3-2 count. One out. Rollins on deck. There they go. Ball 4. There is no doubt, Tim, that Scott Kazmir was more worried about Shane Victorino at second base than he was Carlos Ruiz, who's a 200 hitter this postseason as he draws a walk. Ruiz does, and really, except for the one strike, the other pitches weren't even close.
Gene Mock was a terrific major league manager. Never managed a team that got to the World Series, but his formula for holding guys on was forget the 80-20 formula. In other words, thinking about home 80% of the time and 20% thinking about the base runner. I mean, the base runner, after all, does not know you're thinking about him. So you concentrate on the base runner, and then when it's time to direct your attention home, go at it 100%. That 80-20 formula is bad.
I think Kazmir was about 50-50. Here's Rollins with the bases loaded, one out, and a chance to really make this a good start. We're in the second. Phillies already lead it 2-0, and with the bases loaded, only one away. Ball 1 to Jimmy Rollins. Rollins during the regular season drove home 59 runs, hit 277. And he flares one into left center field. Lead runner is Victorino. Upton will come up throwing. Here's a play at the plate. Inning over. He's done it with his bat. He does it with his arm. A one-hop strike, and the Phillies don't score. Still 2-0. The World Series on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. There's Shane Victorino, who's huffing and puffing out in center field, and it was B.J. Upton who cut him down at the plate. Still 2-0. 16 outfield assists during the regular season. Second only to Nick Markakis with his 17, and while he's been doing it with his bat during this postseason, that was a big out at the plate thanks to the arm of Upton in center. Here's Longoria, and there is ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Evan Longoria is only 23 years old. He has had a meteoric rise to becoming one of the biggest threats with a bat in his hands in the major leagues.
And with a glove in his hand.
That's what he's done during the postseason. Hit 27 home runs during the regular year as a rookie. And he strikes out on a good Cole Hamels changeup, one away.
The thing about the artificial surface is it gives catchers a relatively true hop, as you see to Navarro right there. And what a catcher tries to do in making the tag is shift the ball from the glove to the hand. But he didn't have enough time, and Victorino is out. Nice play, Navarro.
And able to cradle it against his body in the glove to hang on for the out. Now it's Crawford. And for Carl Crawford, he's just 27 years old, but he is the longest tenured Tampa Bay Ray. He played for Tampa Bay way back when they were called the Devil Rays. He leads this franchise in games, average, runs, hits, triples, and steals. It's inside, and the count goes to 2-1. And forever, you've kind of been waiting for the Rays to make some sort of deal to ship Crawford to some contender at a trading deadline to be a difference maker elsewhere. Now here he is. one of the key pieces to the American League Championship team here in St. Pete.
Yeah, I think Carl made the right move. He was much sought after as a football prospect out of high school in Houston, Texas.
Still 2-2. Second round pick in '99. First year for this franchise was '98. He has been a good, steady player for a long time. He gets this one into center, down toward the end of the bat, and easy for Victorino. 2 out. After B.J. Upton came back to the dugout after throwing out Victorino at the plate, here's what Matt Garza had to say. Fox sounds of the game.
Don't test the cannon, boys! Don't test it!
Don't test the cannon.
Hey, don't test it!
That's one guy who has a cannon of his own in Matt Garza.
He'll be starting game 3 in Philadelphia.
The ALCS most valuable players. Ball 1 is high to Willie Ibar. Ibar has been red hot. The 1-0 pitch. Fouled back here. Since the 27th of August in 37 games, Willie has hit .311, 5 home runs, went deep for an insurance tally in Game 7 of the American League Championship Series to make it 3-1. That's how it ended, as the Rays took care of the Red Sox. That's a strike over the inside corner. Strike 2. This year spent his first full season in the big leagues, and he has hit his stride here at the end of the season. 1-2 with 2 out, nobody on, and Cole Hamels is doing it again. MVP of the NLCS. He has 2 strikeouts in the second. 2-0 Philadelphia as we go to the third. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD. It has been beautiful weather-wise here in Tampa Bay. And as we go into the third inning, here is Worth. And there's ball 1, and Kazmir wanted that pitch, didn't get it. Worth, his first time drew a walk, and then he was a witness to the 2-run home run over his head into the seats in right off the bat of Chase Utley.
Once again, Jim Hickey, the pitching coach of the Rays, would prefer Kazmir, if he misses, to miss inside to right-handed batters, not up and away. What that means is he's finishing his pitches when he misses inside to right-handers.
There's a strike. 1-1. Jim Hickey was the pitching coach for the Houston Astros when they ended up in the World Series back in 2005. Lost to the Chicago White Sox, and his closer was Brad Lidge, who closes games for Philadelphia. That's a fair ball. Worth is thinking about 2. Zobrist makes the play, and it's a leadoff double. Good start for Philadelphia here in the third inning as they get their second extra base hit of the night.
Good start, good base running by Worth. A little check swing plop job to the right. Ben Zobrist, you talk about going a long way to get to this ball. This ball's tailing away from him. Gives you an idea about the closure speed of the outfielders for Tampa Bay. We've seen Upton's throw. Zobrist closing on that ball in foul territory. And Carl Crawford, a very, very good outfielder. Not a good arm, but can go get him.
And now with the runner at second and nobody out, here's Chase Utley. Ken Rosenthal is with us tonight. Ken, Ben Zobrist got the start in right field. Tell us more about him.
Joe, this is only his second career start in right field. He told me before the game he had 1 start in spring training and then 1 during the regular season. Before this season, he was a shortstop. He became a super utility man after the Rays acquired Jason Bartlett. And also before this season, he hadn't played the outfield since his freshman year in high school.
And Ken, we were all there, and Joe Madden, the manager for the Tampa Bay Rays in his office, and he said, you know, he was probably our hottest hitter the final week of the regular season. We barely played him. That's how smart we are. So he gets the start here in Game 1 of the World Series. And folks, Joe Madden is plenty smart. 1 ball, 1 strike. A runner at second, nobody out. Stealing third is Worth as Utley rips it foul. Phillies are getting some pretty good swings here against the left-hander Kazmir.
They're also getting some pretty good jumps off of second base. We saw Victorino on a 3-1 pitch to Carlos Ruiz, fouling a ball back. Phillies playing a very aggressive style, and that is their style, and they don't get caught too much when they try to steal.
Tim, the question was, coming in with a 6-day layoff, lead to rust, or would it give this Philadelphia team a chance to rest up a little bit? And they've come out firing, running, trying to take the extra base. Utley is homered. Here's a 1-2. Utley grounds it to the right side. Iwamura makes the play. 1 away. And Ryan Howard, their big RBI man, will step to the plate. The World Series on Fox is sponsored by Sprint. Get more done with Nextel Direct Connect, only on the Now Network. By Gillette Fusion Power Phenom. Fusion Power, the world's most comfortable shave. By Taco Bell, think outside the box. And by Chevy, an American Revolution. Now the infielders for the Rays have the unenviable task of having to come in or play at the plate with Ryan Howard up, runner at third, 1 out, 2-0 Philadelphia.
This is one of the oddest infield alignments that I've ever seen. 3 infielders on the right side, and look at Longoria at third base, and the reason he has to stay close to the bag is you've got a base runner over there. Under a normal shift, he'd be too far off, and Jason Worth would have a huge jump.
How many Philadelphia fans, as the count goes to 1-1, would have believed that their Phillies would be here in Game 1 of the World Series and Ryan Howard would have 3 postseason RBIs? Number 1 in baseball in home runs and runs batted in with 146 during the regular season. Going the other way, but it's a foul ball. Strike 2. Why is that the case? Well, look at what he's done over the last 3 years. 06 through 08. The home runs, the RBIs, a lot of strikeouts, but you put up with those when you get that kind of run production. Led the majors in total home runs over that 3-year span. RBIs, better than A-Rod in those 2 categories, and the most strikeouts. He's set up here at 1 and 2, and Kazmir needs a strikeout. And he got it.
Certainly the most effective slider that Kazmir has thrown. The ball sliding away, and Howard couldn't hold up.
If you ask Charlie Manuel, who's the manager and certainly qualified to be the hitting coach for the Phillies, he said all we've preached to Ryan Howard, especially during the break, is to relax. Let the ball come to you. Quit being so jumpy at the plate. He went after that one, strikes out. Now it's up to Burrell, strike 1. Pat Burrell drove home 86 during the regular season, has 7 during the postseason, and Kazmir is 1 out away from getting around a leadoff double with the heart of the order coming to the plate for Philadelphia. Good swing, but strike 2. 93 on the radar gun from Kazmir.
Good swing, good pitch to hit for Burrell. Normally you don't get more than 1 break back.
In the dirt and blocked easily by Navarro. There is Joe Madden. We'll talk more about him in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The reason the Tampa Bay Rays have home field advantage is because the AL again won the All-Star game. Kazmir, the man on the mound, was the winning pitcher in that game. The 1-2. How about Kazmir? Gets around a leadoff double, going through Utley, Howard, Burrell. Still 2-0 Philadelphia after 2.5. Well, Cole Hamels has got to be wondering how big could this lead be. He's rolling on the mound, but he's been in the dugout watching his teammates get on base, but nobody can drive runners in. The Phillies had 2 on with nobody out. The bases loaded with 1 out in the second, didn't score. A leadoff double with the heart of the order coming up in the third, didn't score. And now a ball is up and away to Dioner Navarro to start the bottom of the third inning.
Joe, that third point on the scouting report, great mental approach. The good pitchers don't worry about things they can't control.
The 1-0. Navarro gets under it, pops it up on the infield. Ryan Howard is there for out number 1 with Zobrist coming up. Well, 24 fans, the wait is almost over. Television's most addictive drama returns on November 23rd with an exciting 2-hour event. 24 Redemption, featuring the all-new Hyundai Genesis. 24 Redemption on November 23rd. Here is Zobrist, who, as we said, was hot down the stretch. Regular season so far this postseason, only 4 at-bats and no hits. With 1 out, strike 1 on the inside corner.
First curveball by Hamels tonight. Everything else has been fastball, changeup.
Riding fastball that was a little high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Regular season numbers for Zobrist. Ball 2. A Tampa Bay team that won 97 games during the regular season. Also during the regular season, they had the best home record across Major League Baseball. And that's under the glove of Phillies. A 1-out base hit for Zobrist. We gave you the lineup prior to the bottom of the first. The one guy we didn't get to was the number 9 man.
Jason Bartlett, shortstop, batting 9th.
And he gets to introduce himself, stepping in with 1 on, 1 out.
Is he ever glad he's here? Traded from the Minnesota Twins last winter with Matt Garza for Delman Young. Get a starting pitcher and an everyday shortstop. He has just been terrific for Joe Madden and the Rays.
That's low, ball 1. He's cut down the errors defensively at 26 in 2007, had 16 during the regular season this year. He has made 2 errors defensively in the postseason. 2-0. How good was this deal? Garza and Bartlett, and the main player going the other way to the Twins, Delman Young.
That was after Delman Young had driven in 93 runs last year for Tampa Bay.
Played in every game. Here's a 2-0. That's back and out of play. 2-1. Andrew Friedman is the young general manager for this Rays team. Matt Silverman is their young president. Stuart Sternberg is a rather young owner. Everything's young. The team.
Yep.
The lineup, the rotation, options out of the bullpen, and unfazed by a 7th game in the ALCS. 2-1. 3-1 from Hamels.
And how difficult was it to come back from that being ahead 7-0 in Game 5 against Boston, only to see the Red Sox come back? Very, very difficult to recover from something like that. But they did it.
(3-1). First walk handed out by Cole Hamels. 2 on, 1 out. Iwamura coming up, and we look at the Tampa Bay Rays season in review. Best home record across Major League Baseball, as they went 57 and 24. Their starting rotation is good, deep, and all 26 years old or younger. And they led the big leagues in stolen bases. They have 17 more in the postseason. Iwamura takes a strike. 142 steals for Joe Maddon's team during the regular season. 136 for the Phillies. Zobrist and Bartlett. One out. Iwamura showing bunt, taking a ball high. Akinori from Japan, 9 years with Yakult as a third baseman, came here as a third baseman. He's taken over second base while Longoria came up. He doesn't have a ton of stolen bases, 8 during the regular season, 2 this postseason, but he can run.
He's quick, not fast. Big difference.
2 on, 1 out, 1-1 pitch. Strike 2, a fastball from Cole Hamels.
Setting up inside is Ruiz. Right down the pipe, blew it by Iwamura.
Pretty good life to these pitches from Hamels.
Only one curveball thus far.
The 1-2. Into right, a base hit. Worth will come up throwing. They hold Zobrist and the bases are loaded.
I think that was a curveball that really hung over the middle of the plate. No changeup. Changeup toppling in there, and Iwamura, with his second hit, loads the bases.
Brings Rich Doobie, the pitching coach, out of the dugout to talk to Hamels. We haven't seen a lot of this during the postseason. Hamels won Game 1 of the division series, 8 innings, no runs, 2 hits. Won Game 1 of the NLCS, 7 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits. Game 5 of the NLCS at LA, 7 innings, 1 run, 5 hits. He's allowed more than 2 earned runs only once in his last 11 starts. He's in a jam here in the third. And has to deal with B.J. Upton. Ball 1. That is the look of a confident hitter. And why not? Hitting over 300 coming in during the postseason with his 7 home runs. Good fastball. Hamels kept it down 1-1. Two and 1 as Hamels does not get the inside corner.
That was the same pitch, or a similar pitch, that Upton grounded into the double play his first time up. No way to guess with Cole Hamels. He throws change-ups behind in the count, often to right-handers.
Hard hit, Phillies, Utley, double play. And now the Rays have missed a golden opportunity. That ball was smashed, but Pedro Feliz made a good play to start a 5-4-3 twin killing. 4th inning, Game 1. Still 2-0, Philadelphia. Last Wednesday night in Los Angeles, the Philadelphia Phillies wrapped up their 6th National League pennant. Their first since 1993. Their only world championship in 1980 when they beat Kansas City. And Victorino, the man at the plate, is a big reason why the Phillies have advanced to the Fall Classic. First time up, he's singled. He's now 10 out of 33 this postseason. Off the end of the bat, might fall in. That is a base hit. Zobrist backing up Upton, and it's just a leadoff single. Victorino's 2 for 2.
On a ball hit like that, if you B.J. Upton, you can afford to keep coming knowing that somebody's got your back, and that somebody was Ben Zobrist.
But still, as we heard Ken Rosenthal tell us, he came up originally as a shortstop. Now he's a utility player. And I think you have to at least give Zobrist some credit for being back there. Otherwise, Victorino would still be running.
When you talk to scouts, Joe, they talk about the outfield and how the outfield converges and how quick Crawford is, Upton, and even Zobrist playing a good right field so far.
They'll have Rocco Baldelli in right field tomorrow night, former center fielder, so you know he can cover ground.
Right.
There's a foul backing out of play by Phillies, and the count 1-1. Pedro drew a walk his first time, but he's in the game mainly because of his glove, and that paid off in the bottom of the third inning on that smash hit by Upton that Phillies turned into a double play. 1-1. In at the knees, strike 2.
As Whitey Herzog used to say about Ozzie Smith, stopping runs from scoring just as important as driving them in.
Time called at the plate by the home plate umpire Tim Welke. So yet again a leadoff hit. It's the third inning in a row that the Phillies have put their leadoff man on. They've done nothing with those opportunities as Victorino draws a throw. This is a franchise the last 2 years has been as good as it gets with regard to success in stealing bases across the big leagues. That pitch was up. Boy, Kazmir is really bothered by runners, and he's looking over at Victorino and just picking up the target at the last moment. That pitch was up.
Well, the guy paying attention to that is Davey Lopes, the first base coach and the base running coach, the man with the stopwatch. The time, the speed of Kazmir going home.
Now Phillies gets in on the fun, a base hit into center. It's 2 on with nobody out, and for Philadelphia, their 5th hit.
Oh, what a good piece of hitting by Phillies. Ball low and away. He one-hands it to center field. It looked like a changeup. But good hitting by Phillies, and now you have a similar situation with Victorino at second, Phillies at first. And Coast the batter again.
Coast, his first time fly to right, did not advance the runners, and the Rays are in expecting a bunt, and it's bunted back and out of play. I think you could make a strong case, Tim, to let Coast swing away in this spot.
Well, that's what Charlie Manuel did the last time, and sometimes what you're doing is a result of what you've done. And Chris Coast flying to right field, I think that's why Charlie changed it around. If the next pitch is a ball, I think Coast will be hitting.
See if they keep the bunt. 2 on, nobody out, 0-1 pitch. They're going to let him swing, and it's a strike. Coast is in there because he's a better hitter against left-handed pitching. Ruiz, the man on deck, has 1 RBI this entire postseason. Counts 0-2. Victorino stealing third on a ground ball to the first baseman, and like a good bunt because the runners were going. A late break by Phillies at second and third, 1 out.
Carlos Pena, the first baseman, is a very, very good fielder. But because Victorino ran, Phillies didn't run initially. But Victorino's solely responsible. You could see Phillies not running immediately. Victorino going right off the bat. And Phillies makes it to second base.
I think he, and I know you agree, got enough of a head start.
Right.
The runner Phillies to eliminate Pena trying to force a double play. So now second and third, one out for Ruiz, the number 9 man. He walked his first time up to load the bases. And then Rollins popped into shallow center to start an 8-2. Inning-ending double play with Upton throwing out Victorino at the plate. Another chance for the Phillies here in game 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Think about it. The Phillies had no stolen bases thus far, but it seems like they have 3. All 3 runners running from second base. Victorino twice and Worth once.
A lot of pitches for Kazmir as he works here in the 4th. The 1-1. That'll get a run home as Bartlett makes the play. It's 3-0. An RBI ground out by Ruiz gets his second RBI of this postseason, and the Phillies add to their lead. Victorino started it with a hit. An important base hit by Phillies on a good pitch down, and then after Coast advanced the runners, the RBI ground out. Here's Rollins. Looking for a 2-out RBI hit. Strike 1. Two. Surprising for Jimmy Rollins, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position during the postseason, and he's set up here. And down he goes. Strikeout number 4 for Kazmir. The Phillies add to their lead. It's 3-0 after 3.5. Game 1 is into the bottom of the 4th inning now, and Cole Hamels, who got into and out of trouble last inning, watches Pena on the first pitch. Ground to Howard, 1 out. And Evan Longoria will be the hitter.
Notice how quickly Cole Hamels got over to cover first base then after the mistake in the first.
Well, these are 2 teams that train in the area, obviously, and for Philadelphia, they train in nearby Clearwater, and pitchers and catchers show up in mid-February to cover first base and keep running from the mound over to first base. So those fundamentals are drilled into these guys every spring, and for the Phillies, it happens not too far away at Clearwater Beach. Good fastball in for a strike to Longoria. It's 0-2. On deck is Crawford. And that's Phillies. And that's out number 2. Pitching coach for the Phillies is Rich Doobie. We asked him during the break about his starter, Cole Hamels.
Yeah, you know, he left a couple balls up there and got a little quick in his delivery and underneath a couple changeups. But, you know, he's got a knack. This kid can really pitch, and he's a great competitor, so we feel comfortable with him out there.
You typically don't even have to tie your shoes when he makes the start. You don't even have to do a whole lot of walking out to the mound to do any visiting.
I'd rather not go out to that mound if I don't have to. Occasionally just to slow him up a little bit, but he's been very good for us. And at 24 years old, he's just beginning to, you know, touch his potential.
Well, as we hear from Rich Doobie, Carl Crawford gets one into right, and the Rays get that run right back. Hamels gives it up. It's 3-1 Philadelphia on a home run by Carl Crawford.
things considered equal, I think a curveball from a left-handed pitcher to a left-handed hitter is the most dangerous pitch in the world. You make so many mistakes with that pitch, and Hamels just made one to Crawford.
Here's a changeup and a strike to Ibar, and here's the pitch.
The reason for that is left-handed hitters have a chance to adjust to the curveball where they can't to the fastball of the changeup. They're out in front. He wasn't out in front of that one.
And Ibar is now behind on the count, 0-2. And here's the pitch right in the heart of the plate.
Yep.
2 out, nobody on, and the Rays are on the board.
Almost on cue, Joe. Rich Doobie talking about getting under the changeup. Well, Cole Hamels got under the curveball then that pitch to Carl Crawford.
Still 0-2 on Ibar.
That's why you constantly hear pitching coaches say, try to stay on top. Try to stay on top.
Off the end of the bat, and Victorino is there. The Rays chasing down that dream are on the board, down by 2. Back after this from your local Fox station. Coming up on 10 o'clock in the East, it's World Series Game 1, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Joe, Tim, Ken, and Chris with you here in Game 1, and the Phillies bat in the top of the 5th, up 3-1. And Worth has been a part of it with a walk, a run scored, and a double against Kazmir. Strike 1. It's Worth, Utley, and Howard for Philadelphia. Strike 2 and an awkward swing by Jason Worth.
I think his top hand came off the bat. Sometimes that pitch is away from you and you reach for it with your arms and not your legs.
Into center field. Upton is there. 1 out. Had a chance to visit with Joe Madden, the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays. And the first question was about getting on the board on the home run by Crawford.
He's very good. That last inning, though, we had that opportunity. BJ hit that ball very well right into Felice's glove. Overall, I like the at-bats. He is good.
You are so good at reading body language and the mood of your players. You were prior to Game 7 of the ALCS. What's your gauge look like tonight before World Series Game 1?
I thought that in the beginning just a little bit. We saw the World Series in front of us, but right now I think we're settling in very nice. I think Kaz looks good tonight. This is about as good of a strike thrower I've seen him be in the recent past. He looks good with all of his pitches. The slider's better, the changeup's good, the fastball's a strike, and I like it.
And a terrific play at home plate by Navarro and B.J. Upton.
Correct. I just thought B.J. could have stayed behind that ball just a click better, but he's got such a great arm, he's able to make up for it. Now he's done a wonderful job at blocking the plate all year.
We appreciate your time, Joe. Thanks.
Okay, guys, thank you.
There's another strike from Kazmir. And again, the shift is on. Something we might ask Joe Madden about tomorrow night for Utley, who's homered. I'm sure Joe Madden, like any baseball man, will tell you, well, if he wants to lay one down on the left side, considering he homered in his first at bat, let him. Ball 1.
Yeah, there are some National League teams that play Utley to pull like that. The shift with Longoria at short and 3 on the right side.
We did not see it during the National League Championship Series between the Phillies and Dodgers. Utley gets under it. 2 out as the shortstop. Bartlett puts it away. Well, Joe Madden is definitely a baseball lifer. Before he came here, and he's in his 3rd season managing the Rays, he spent 31 years in the Angels organization. 6 years as the bench coach to Mike Scioscia, a manager who we think a lot of with the Angels. Definitely a thinking man's type manager.
Renaissance man.
A 2 out, nobody on. Ryan Howard takes the ball. From Hazleton, Pennsylvania, Joe Madden is not all that far away from Philadelphia. And he and the Rays will head there for Game 3, which will be on Saturday night. Jamie Moyer and Garza. The 2-0. 3-0 to Howard with Burrell on deck. On 3-0. Howard swinging, and that wasn't a very good 3-0 swing.
Reason for that, it was not a good 3-0 pitch.
Same shift on the infield for Howard, who's now at the plate with a full count.
After the 3-0 fastball, the 3-1 slider. I think you'll see that pitch again. Nope.
Fastball fouled back. Howard is grounded out, struck out. Out in front of it again. He has seen a ton of breaking balls during the postseason, one after the other against the Dodgers.
Pack the bags and light the lights. Curves are coming left and right.
Out in front of it, another foul ball. A 2-out walk, and that's the 4th walk issued by Kazmir. Around the clubhouse for the Tampa Bay Rays, Joe Madden does a lot of reading. Has these signs up. Whether it's John Wooden or Alan Greenspan. Quotes from a wide-ranging spectrum of people all across different walks of life as a strike is poured into Pat Burrell. Pat has struck out twice. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Talked about that 2-run home run hit by Chase Utley in Game 1 of the League Championship Series against the Dodgers. It was Pat Burrell who won the game for the Phillies with a game-winning home run. Same inning, the 6th.
Time called at the plate. And Kazmir wisely just let it go anyway. That was a late time call, and time granted by Tim Welke, the home plate umpire.
Time granted with Pat Burrell. Time. You can see Pat Burrell saying time. Kazmir delivered the ball, but there is a slight chance of a pitcher getting hurt on a pitch like that.
The 1-1. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner at first is Howard, 2 out, and a 2-run lead for Philadelphia. Bottom 3 in the order coming up for the Rays. That is ripped foul. Ken Rosenthal joining us from down on the field. Any new messages for the World Series, Ken, from Joe Madden for his club?
Yes, Joe. Joe Madden also uses creative dress codes, and today on the board it says, for tomorrow night, khakis, blue blazers, and from there, use your imagination. It's Madden borrowing from Madonna. Express yourself.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Another foul. Voguing is prohibited in that clubhouse. However, khakis and blue blazers, like they're a choir. You don't see a lot of khakis and blue blazers worn by big league baseball players. The young team, and after winning 61 games in 06, 66 games last year, 97 in 08. Those messages are getting home. 2-2.
Just misses inside with the fastball.
Just missed by even less. Off the inside corner. Now it's a full count, and that means that Ryan Howard will get a head start at first. '95th pitch of the night. And it's off the end of the bat. Kazmir picks it up and safe at first. Pena was handcuffed, and it's 2 on, 2 out.
I think Pat Burrell was in line with the throw. As you see, the left-hander Kazmir pivot, throws a little dead fish, but I believe Pena was blocked out by the left side of the body of Pat Burrell. Here's the shot that Pena has. Backs up. That's a tough play.
Carlos Pena made only 2 errors during the regular season. It's an error on him. As you said, kind of a dead fish lob, almost like a shot put over to first base. We have had instances in postseasons past where you and I have been in the booth, and we've seen a home plate umpire call the runner going down the line, interfering with that play by being inside that running lane going to first base. That was right on the edge of it. And as you look at the body of Burrell inside that baseline, Kazmir didn't have a lot of room to get that over Burrell's left shoulder.
But he threw the ball in fair territory to Pena. But you're right, Burrell is inside that line. Pena drops it. And an error on Carlos Pena.
So now 2 on with 2 out for one of the Phillies' hottest hitters, Shane Victorino. He has come up with big hits this postseason for the Phillies. To the second baseman. Iwamura flips, and that's it for the top of the 5th. Halfway through game 1. Bottom of the order coming up. Still 3-1 Philadelphia. The 2008 World Series is brought to you by Traverse, the all-new crossover from Chevy. It's everything you've ever wished for and then some. Here's tonight's winning ticket number. Go to worldseries.com/Chevy for a virtual game ticket for your chance to win a trip to next summer's baseball all-star game in St. Louis. Bottom of the 5th inning, bottom 3rd of the order for the Rays, down by 2. Hamels gave up a 2-out home run to Crawford in the bottom of the 4th to make it 3-1. Navarro popped up his first time. He's 0 for 1. Then Zobrist, and then Bartlett. One ball, one strike. Change up and a foul tip. It's 1-2.
Navarro from Venezuela, Carlos Ruiz from Venezuela. It's interesting to note they were both non-drafted because the draft does not take place in Latin America. Only the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico.
Gets under this one and fouls it back and out of play. Deanna was traded to this Tampa Bay franchise from the Dodgers. And boy, did he make improvements swinging the bat. Hit .227 in 07, up to .295 this year. 1-2 pitch, another foul. And there are the fellow countrymen talking to each other at home plate. Another 1-2 from Cole Hamels. And Navarro went around. Fooled on the pitch, and strikeout number 3 for the Philadelphia left-hander. Well, this week, Fox NFL Sunday returns its doubleheader action, beginning with the Buccaneers taking on the Cowboys. The Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles are other regional action, and a lot of those audiences funneling to the big one late. Eli Manning and the Giants taking on Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Seahawks battling the 49ers. Coverage begins with the Ford Drive 1 Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox. And a matchup of those two quarterbacks drafted in 2004. Both have won Super Bowls. Eli Manning last year, Ben Roethlisberger and his Steelers beat the Seahawks a couple of years ago. The late game on Sunday, and that pitch is up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
What a sports day Sunday will be in Philadelphia, with the Philadelphia Eagles facing the Atlanta Falcons at 1 o'clock. And then the Phillies playing that night. You have about 110,000 people in that area.
And there's the matchup with those two quarterbacks. Eli Manning, the first overall pick in 04. That was by San Diego, then traded to the Giants. And Ben Roethlisberger has been nothing but a winner since being picked 11th overall in 04 and joining the Steelers. Count's gone to 3-1 on Zobrist with Bartlett on deck. Full count. Zobrist now 1 for 5 this postseason. With that hit his first time up, that's Phillies, stays down on the ball and throws a strike, 2 out. Base is empty. The number 9 man Bartlett coming to the plate. The World Series on Fox. Sponsored by Chevy Traverse. It's everything you've ever wished for and then some. Here's the 28-year-old, about to turn 29-year-old shortstop Bartlett. It was the regular season MVP for this Rays team. Ball 1. Two and 0. Two and 1. Bartlett with 1 home run against the Red Sox in the ALCS, his only RBI this postseason for the Rays. Change up, it's 2-2.
Cole Hamels so unpredictable, you just cannot guess with him. Fastball count. Bartlett, the number 9 hitter, gets a changeup.
Now a full count. Iwamura on deck. He's 2 for 2. 3-2 pitch is outside, a 2-out walk. Only 2 walks all night for Cole Hamels, and both have been to the number 9 hitter Bartlett. And Iwamura will bat as this 5th inning is extended. This is a Philadelphia team that, especially tonight, they're good up front with their pitching with Cole Hamels, and they are outstanding at the back end of games. Some action has to happen here soon for the Rays. That's ball 1 high. There's short relief in the combination of J.C. Romero, the lefty, Ryan Madsen, the right-hander, setting up Brad Lidge. Is about as good as it gets across baseball, and Hamels is just now approaching the mid-70s as far as his pitch count. A 1-0 instead of throw to first, and Bartlett gets back. Jason stole 20 during the regular season, has 1 this postseason.
To reiterate what we said in the opening, thinking that tonight's game is more important for the Phillies than it is for the Rays.
(2-0)
Has nothing to do with tomorrow night's starter for Philadelphia, Brett Myers. But there is a little bit of a drop-off. The quality of Hamels compared to the quality of the rest of the starters, whereas the Rays feature more consistency with their young starting pitcher.
There's Brett Myers, tomorrow night starter for the Phillies. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Iwamura takes a strike over the outside corner. Runner goes. Ruiz throw way late. That's now 18 stolen bases for the Rays in this postseason.
What a jump Bartlett had going on first movement.
Jason Bartlett with that stolen base just won America a free taco from Taco Bell. Visit a participating Taco Bell on Tuesday, October 28th between 2 and 6 p.m. to get your free taco. And drop Bartlett a thank you note. Here's a 3-1 pitch to Iwamura. Base hit, digs into this lead. Good pitch, and it's a full count.
Even though Ruiz had a good pitch to handle, Bartlett easily beats the play with that jump he had.
Joe Maddon's approach coming in against Hamels was to run tonight. They just have not had many opportunities. The 3-2. Fouled off. Well, that was a fastball on 3-2. 92 miles per hour. And so often that out pitch for Cole Hamels is that knee buckling changeup.
Well, that's what Iwamura hit his last time up. I think that's why Hamels and Ruiz are sticking with the hard stuff. The Iwamura.
Back to the hard stuff, and it's still 3-2. It's been a 25-pitch 5th inning for Cole Hamels. Trying to get through the 5th and keep a 2-run lead. Iwamura into left center field. It's a 1-run game. 2-out action for the Rays. It's 3-2.
One fastball after another, and Iwamura finally catches up to it. right on the outside corner, up a little bit to drive in the Rays' second run.
How about a 3-for-3 night for Iwamura? Scoring easily was Bartlett, who extended the inning with a walk and a steal. And it'll be B.J. Upton dealing with Cole Hamels now with 2 out and the tying run at second base here in the 5th as Rich Doobie makes his second visit of this night to Cole Hamels. The night for B.J. Upton, a check swing grounder into a double play in the first. With the bases loaded and 1 out, hard hit, but a double play started by Phillies at third.
You hate to pitch around a hitter who can run like Upton when he represents the go-ahead run. I think the Phillies will more or less challenge Upton. Not all fastballs, but I don't think they're going to pitch around him in this situation with the left-handed hitter on deck.
B.J. Upton could tie it with a hit, could give the Rays their first lead of the night with a long ball. That's foul, back and out of play. Big swing by B.J. Upton. Bothered by a sore left shoulder. He will undergo surgery at the end of the postseason. That's high.
When B.J. Upton strides, he turns the left ankle toward the catcher. It's a timing device that he learned in A-ball and feels very uncomfortable if he doesn't do that. An odd way of striding into the ball.
That's strike 2. B.J.'s younger brother Justin, an outfielder with the Diamondbacks, and there's that movement with the left ankle. Set up here at a ball and 2 strikes. Jammed, a pop-up. Ryan Howard gives it a look. And he's there for the out. Up against the railing. Up against the fans. And Ryan Howard, that ball came back a little bit. And Howard was there to end the threat. It's a 1-run game as we go to the 6th. The World Series on Fox, sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Get sports clips, scores, stats, and more right on your Verizon Wireless phone. Here is Pedro Feliz. Kazmir is back to work. Top of the 6th inning. 3-2 game now. Philadelphia leading. And Feliz has had a nice night. A walk, a single, and helped set up a run in the 4th, which is the difference in the game. And now Feliz is going to drop another hit in. Leadoff man is on again. 4th time in 6 innings that the Phillies have put their leadoff man aboard.
Yeah, the Phillies for the whole year have had problems getting the bottom part of the order going. But tonight, the 6 and 7 hole, Victorino and Feliz have been on 5 times in 6 at-bats.
Here's Coast. He's jammed, fouls it. Pena, nice try. But it's just strike 1. Pena came very close.
See the guys warming up in the bullpen trying to help Pena out and let him know how much room he had just out of reach. Chris Coast is not catching up to the fastball. So if you're Kazmir, you don't help him out and throw a slower pitch.
J.P. Howell and Chad Bradford. Lefty and the righty getting loose for the Rays. The 0-1 to Coast. A high fastball. It's 0-2.
Coast with that hitch in his swing. What does that mean when a hitter approaches a pitcher and he drops his hands? That's the old-fashioned term of a hitch in the swing. Tough to get back on top of that fastball.
So they stay with a fastball. The count now 1-2. Kazmir with 101 pitches, and he has not recorded an out in the 6th. Leadoff hit by Phillies. Coast. Everything is up now on the count 2-2. One 1-0 this postseason is Scott Kazmir. Won game 2 of the division series against the White Sox, 6-2. The 2-2. Another foul. Then Kazmir started game 2 of the ALCS. Got a no decision. That was the 11-inning game, a 9-8 win for the Rays. And then a start in game 5. Joe Maddon gave him the ball. Left with a big lead. Went 6 innings, 2 hits. That's all. The bullpen blew a 7-0 lead. The 2-2. Coast pops it up on the infield. Merle. 1 on, 1 out, and we go down to the 4th member of our broadcast team. Here's Chris Myers.
And in the stands, Joe, enjoying the game, the president of Taco Bell, Greg Creed, and America is going to enjoy a free taco because of the stolen base.
Fantastic. Yes, Jason Bartlett, bottom of the 5th. We're going to give away a free taco to everyone in America on November the 28th between 2 and 6 p.m. local time.
And all you have to do is show up. Now, you sound like a cricket player.
Yeah, I played cricket growing up, not baseball. It was a totally different game, but I'm really into my baseball, having living in America now for 7 years.
You were just telling me 3-2 is a good score. What would be a good score in cricket?
Good score in cricket would be about 300 for 2.
All right, well, it'll take a while for us to get there, but for Taco Bell Baseball Fox, we appreciate it. I know all the fans will enjoy a taco on you guys. And as president of Taco Bell, are you worried about the election? Could you get voted out of office? Or?
No voting, thank goodness. Not up for re-election every 4 years, thing.
Okay. Joe?
All right, Chris, here's a 1-0 pitch. Ruiz is fooled by the pitch, gets it off the end of the bat, and Crawford uses that good speed to close on it, 2 out. And Jimmy Rollins will be the hitter, 1 on, 2 out.
Earlier we talked about Kazmir, and when he had his arm injury in spring training, he went more to the straight changeup. That was a straight change to get Ruiz. And a good one.
Here is Rollins 0 for 3. Strike 1. Change up there. Off the end of the bat. So this would be in the category of a quality start, which is a phrase that agents came up with. Try and get their pitching clients more money. Trying to turn in 6 innings, allowing 3 runs or less. Kazmir is 1 out away, and the count evens 1-1 on Rollins, who is flying to right. Had the bases loaded, 1 out, hit a shallow fly to center. Upton threw out Victorino at the plate, and then he struck out with a man on in the 4th. Ball 2. On deck is Jason Worth. Get the feeling that if Kazmir can't get Rollins, we could see Bradford for
thinking
Worth.
the same thing. Yeah.
A 2-1. In the air to center. Upton is there, and that'll do it for 5.5. Jimmy Rollins 0 for 4 here in game 1. A look at the Sunshine Skyway as we go to the bottom of the 6th. 3-2 Phillies. Hamels heads back to work, bottom of the 6th. 3-2 Philadelphia. Phillies about hit the Rays 6-5. Tampa Bay has the game's only error. Phillies have stranded 7, hit into a double play. Rays have stranded 3, hit into 2 double plays. Here's Pena. And hard hit, bobbled by Howard, and safe at first is Pena. Could be the second error this postseason for Ryan Howard, who committed 19 during the regular year.
A little in between hop, but a hop that should cause no problems with that big glove. And then trying to get to it quickly. It is going to be an error on Ryan Howard. Rattling around in that big mitt.
So Ryan Howard's issues continue. Trying to find himself at the plate. Now he commits an error. Tying run is on, and a throw to first, down to second. Out is the call, and Cole Hamels, Tim, came very close to a balk.
Yep. You got to step toward first base, and Joe Maddon saying that is a balk. Ryan Howard, fortunately for the Phillies, coming toward the pitcher and makes a strong throw to get Pena at second base. Joe Maddon saying that was a balk. It was close.
And then the throw down. Pena nearly beat the throw anyway. But Hamels read that as Pena left maybe an instant too soon, and that allowed Hamels, I think, to change his mind and go over to first base and start the caught stealing 1-3-6 with Howard feeding Rollins. Ball 2-0.
That's why Joe Maddon and the guys on the bench of the Tampa Bay club called the balk immediately, but not first base umpire Kerwin Danley, and he's the one that counts.
Off the end of the bat, 2-1.
You can't deceive the runner. If you're going to throw to first, it's got to be more deliberate than that. And the play at second base, good call by second base umpire Fielding Culbreth. Looked like his right foot just slid to the outside of the bag.
Good pitch to Longoria. 2-2. One out. Time called at the plate. And granted to Longoria, who now bats with the bases empty. One out. Evan is 0 for 2 with a strikeout, a ground out. And his 6 home runs during this postseason, most ever by a rookie. On the inside corner. And the rookie goes down looking, not liking the call of the home plate umpire, Tim Welke, 2 out.
Now the last 2 pitches Longoria thought were inside, shaking his head. The 1-2 pitch on the corner, and Hamels gets the call, even though it may have been a little inside, but agreement's not part of it.
That's called ball 1 inside to Crawford, who homered to get the scoring started for the Rays in the 4th, made it 3-1. And then Tampa Bay got a run last inning on a 2-out RBI hit by Iwamura. To the right side, and Utley takes care of Crawford. The inning started with an error, then a caught stealing. We go to the 7th. 3-2 Philadelphia. Back after this from your local Fox station. Seventh inning of Game 1. Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of Major League Baseball, reaching more than 4 million kids worldwide. Together they create a positive place for kids. As we go into the 7th inning, it's 3-2 Philadelphia, and J.P. Howell, who has been as valuable as any member of this team, is into the game. First up is Worth. And he was ready to pound one, and he came up empty, strike 1.
And the reason the left-hander is in to face Jason Worth is his ability to get both left-handers and right-handers out consistently. But you're right, he's the MVP of this team, says a lot of the Rays.
That's in the dirt, and no swing. We talked about what looked like to us a balk as Grant Balfour gets loose. on what was a big play for the first out in the bottom of the 6th inning. Instead of a balk and a runner at second, nobody out, and Longoria up in a 1-run game, it was 1 out, nobody on. And a strikeout and a ground out followed. Joe Madden came out to plead his case with a home plate umpire during the break, Tim Welke, who was wearing a microphone for us. And we appreciate Tim Welke being willing to do that. And we'll listen in on their conversation that took place prior to the top of this 7th. After Worth does something here to start the inning. He strikes out to start the 7th, and here's that conversation.
Okay. My concern is this, because he doesn't read. He doesn't read. So he's going home all the way right there, and then he decided to throw to first base, and that's why I got it as a balk. If he was a reader, I have no dispute whatsoever.
I understand what you're saying. The only thing I look for at that is if I see a step, his feet start this way together, and he ended up stepping that much closer to first base. I don't know about.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm looking for direction from over here.
I understand.
And from he's farther down in the halfway point.
I understand. Okay, all right, we'll look at it.
That is a conversation between Tim Welke, the home plate umpire, and Joe Madden, in what was a big, important out, as it turns out, for Philadelphia. What is a read? What's he talking about when Joe Madden's talking?
Well, when your right leg has to go to first base, if it is pointing toward home, there's no way that it's not a balk, and that was Joe Madden's point.
Here's a base hit up the middle by Utley, 1 on 1 out with Howard coming up.
But you can't deceive the runner by stepping toward home and then throwing to first. That's the point. In fact, in spring training, they used to have a line drawn on an angle of about 45 degrees the pitcher's mound. They did it experimentally. And you could see that is a step toward home, enough of which you could have called a balk on. Pena once again going on first movement.
One on, one out. And going on first movement is Utley. Got a great jump and steals second easily. Stolen base number 1 of the postseason for Chase Utley. He had 14 during the regular season.
Strong throw by Navarro, but when a runner at first has that big a jump, no way to throw him out. Again, going on first movement. One thing that Major League scouting reports are perhaps the best at in postseason play is reading pitchers' moves. Utley had a great read there and stole second easily.
There's Ryan Howard's opportunity again. The runner in scoring position, 1 out. Tonight 0 for 2 with a walk. But still to this point, as he's playing in his 10th game this postseason, only 3 RBIs. For a guy who led baseball with 146 driven in. One of the elite run producers and power hitters in the major leagues is Ryan Howard. Really out of whack at the plate to this point. Now a throw back to second, and safe is Utley, and that ball almost sailed on Bartlett, the shortstop, who was covering.
If the throw's down a little, they had a chance to get him. Leaning on the wrong foot, the right foot, and that quick throw by Howell.
So far, the story in this game offensively for the Phillies, 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They've left 7 men on in this game 1. They have their big guy up. That one gets away. Over to third is Utley. with 1 out, and the count goes to 1-2 on Ryan Howard, so the RBI opportunity is made easier for the Philadelphia first baseman.
Ball skidding away from Biener Navarro. Hits him on the right arm. And Utley not only going to third, but thinking about coming home. Problem now is if you throw the ball out of the strike zone, which is where you want to pitch Ryan Howard, the chance of another wild pitch in the dirt is a possibility.
Ryan Howard trying to produce that run. That's foul. A little better swing that time, still out in front.
Yeah, it was a lot better pitch. Breaking ball. That's hittable right there. But Howard fouls it off.
Howell got away with a pitch there.
He did.
Again with a runner at third, 1 out. Longoria near the bag at third, and the rest of the infielders on the right side of second base. The count 1-2. Throw to third, and Utley gets back.
Get out of here! God damn it!
That was a close pitch. And a pretty strong throw from Navarro.
I'll say, again, from one knee. That's why if you're the runner on at third base, you want to go back to the bag in fair territory. That pitch was very, very close. Wow.
Now the 2-2. Down and away, full count. On deck is Burrell. The 3-2, and a big strikeout for J.P. Howell.
Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, out to talk to Howell, but a great play by Navarro. Actually, that ball was not in the dirt. A breaking ball to Howard. But out of the strike zone, and he goes down on strikes once again with a runner in scoring position.
So cannot come through for Philadelphia as Howard strikes out for the second time tonight. And we'll give you our Verizon game summary. 2-run shot by Utley in the first. Good start for the Phillies. With a score 3-0. Crawford goes deep to right center, 3-1. Then Iwamura with a 2-out RBI double made it 3-2 in the 5th. And that's where we are now in the top of the 7th. Runner at third, 2 out. And Burrell is trying to rescue this inning.
Both strikeouts by Howard tonight with a runner on third and 1 out.
So now 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position of the Phillies, and Burrell looks at ball 1 outside. Victorino is a switch hitter. Joe Madden telling us before the game he is really good from the right side. But right now it's Burrell against the lefty with Balfour getting loose. Burrell couldn't hold up. Strike 1. The 1-1. Strike 2, and Howell could strike out the side.
Good hard curveball, and Howell gets the call.
Blocked by Navarro. 2-2. Combination of Ryan Howard and Pat Burrell, the 4 and 5 hitters for Philadelphia. A combined 0 for 6.
Also the confidence in the catcher to block the ball in the dirt, allowing Howell to throw his best curveballs.
Check swing. They don't appeal, and the count's full. Deanna Navarro wanted an appeal. The home plate umpire, Tim Welke, did not ask Kerwin Danley for his opinion. So a full count. Runner at third, 2 out. Phillies lead by 1. Runners at the corners as that pitch barely missed. And the inning will continue for Victorino, but it will not continue with J.P. Howell on the mound. They want to turn Victorino around, make him bat left-handed, as this pitch barely missed outside. Balfour will come in. Victorino will come up with runners at the corners and 2 out. Fox, sponsored by the movie Four Christmases, starring Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. The Phillies won their only World Series in their history October 21st, 1980, leading 4-1 in the top of the 9th inning, Game 6. Frank White's pop-out escaped catcher Bob Boone's mitt. The first baseman Pete Rose was there to make the put-out. And that famous shot of Tug McGraw getting the final out, striking out Willie Wilson, the late Tug McGraw, and the series was over. Now it's Balfour, Victorino, and Victorino went after a high, hard one, strike 1. First and third, 2 out. Bruntlett is now in the game running at first for Burrell.
Nobody on either side throws as hard as Grant Balfour, and that's when he's most effective, when he's up in the strike zone.
Victorino late with that swing. It's 0-2. '96, 1-2. Sydney, Australia. 30-year-old right-hander, 6'2", 192. Part of the closer by committee employed by Joe Madden after Percival went down. Victorino gets a piece.
Grant Balfour saying, catch me if you can. 4 straight fastballs right around the letters to Victorino.
Trevor Miller, the left-hander, getting loose. Up and into Victorino, 2-2. There is a big run sitting out there at third base for Philadelphia here in the 7th. Victorino, who has come up with one big hit after another for the Phillies, trying to bring home Utley. 2-2 pitch. Blew it by him. 9 runners stranded tonight by the Phillies here in game 1. And unable to drive in runs from third with less than 2 out. Good work by Balfour picking up J.P. Howell. Right now we join public address announcer David Pigman for the introduction of God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and join Air Force Master Sergeant Kim Heng as she performs God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. Willie Ibar first up against Cole Hamels, working in the 7th. Strike 1. Ibar is 0 for 2. He struck out, flied out. Bruntlett stays in the game. He's in left. There is action for the Phillies in their bullpen as Hamels finds strike 2. That's Chad Durbin on your left. He's the right-hander. Scott Air, the lefty, also getting loose. Here's an 0-2. Ball 1.
Charlie Manuel trying to get it into the 8th inning so he can bring in Ryan Matson and then Brad Lidge. And if there is trouble for the Phillies in this inning, then he'll go to either Air or Durbin.
Ibar gets under it, skies it into shallow left, and Rollins is there for out number 1. Here comes Navarro. Compare these two left-handers. The starters both 24 years old, and here's what they have done so far in game 1.
Remarkable consistency for Cole Hamels. This is his 4th postseason start. In his first 3, he's gone exactly 7 innings in each.
And has not allowed more than 2 runs.
Right.
Navarro. Ball inside. DeHonor tonight is 0 for 2. He's popped up, struck out. Off the end of the bat. Change up. It's 1-1. Back to the pine tar for Navarro, who hit 7 home runs during the regular season, has not gone deep in the postseason. Quick shot of Brad Lidge, who has been perfect saving games for Philadelphia in his first season with the Phillies, regular season and postseason.
Philadelphia 86-0 when they have led after 8 innings. Unbelievable.
Here we are in the bottom of the 7th. Here's a 1-1. Breaking ball is fouled, strike 2. Hamels on 1-2. Misses down and in. Phillies have stranded 9 runners on. and have been hitless tonight in 11 opportunities with runners in scoring position. That's out number 2 and strikeout number 5 for the left-hander Hamels, who fooled Navarro. The base is empty. Zobrist will be the hitter. 2 down in the 7th. This week, Fox NFL Sunday returns. Howie and Michael name the top 10 defensive players in the game today. Plus, they break down each of the monster matchups being played this Sunday and tell you who will come out on top. It's on the all-new Ford Drive 1 Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Here's Zobrist. Not just effective pitches from Hamels, but very sharp, well-located pitches here as he winds down his night in the 7th. That one is down. He makes the play. We go into the 8th inning. A 100-pitch night to this point for Hamels. Is that it? We go to the 8th. Bottom 3 in the lineup coming up for the Phillies, who lead game 1 by 1. Pedro Feliz has been on base 3 times tonight. He leads it off in the 8th inning, and Balfour skips one in there, ball 1. Cole Hamels getting congratulations. It appears his night is finished, and look at what he has done this postseason. Division Series Game 1, 8 innings, no runs. Game 1 of the NLCS, 7 innings, 2 runs. 7 innings, 1 run in Game 5 against the Dodgers. Tonight, 7 innings, 2 runs on only 5 hits. 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And with Ryan Madsen getting ready, it appears that Hamels will leave, and if he gets a decision, he'll get a win. Feliz pops it into right for Zobrist. 1 out.
This is a very interesting situation. As you see, Ryan Madsen, he'll be the pitcher in the bottom of the 8th inning, as the Phillies are hopeful of a 7-inning game with Madsen in the 8th and Lidge in the 9th. But no pinch hitter for Chris Coast, the designated hitter tonight. A couple of reasons. If you take Coast out of there, then the only other catcher is Jason Worth. And also, if you bring in a left-hander, Greg Dobbs was the best pinch hitter in the majors this year. And Trevor Miller's going to be the pitcher. He's the left-hander getting loose for Tampa Bay.
So with the 1-run lead in the 8th, they stay with Coast. And that means that Joe Madden can stay with Balfour. In the bottom of this 8th inning, it'll be the 9, 1, and 2 hitters. Bartlett, Iwamura, and Upton. Shattered bat. Just sawed off. 2 out. Boy, we've seen some pitching here tonight.
Oh, man. Balfour is just out there blowing as he saws off Chris Coast. That's a broken bat right there.
There was not much left in the hands of Coast.
No.
And now Ruiz, who has an RBI groundout, doing for the Phillies what Ryan Howard has been unable to do, and that is put the ball in play, put it on the ground, and drive in a run from third with less than 2 out. And his RBI in the 4th inning is the difference in this game still. Made it 3-0. It's now 3-2. The breaking ball is a high strike. Ruiz is 0 for 2 with that RBI. He also has a walk. 97. 0-2. Ruiz lines one into right. Zobrist with a nice play. Bottom of the 8th, game 1. Rays coming up, down by 1. WebMD injury report. We look at Troy Percival, who had a number of injuries this season, including a terrible hamstring issue. We highlight his back stiffness. He is not on the active roster. For more information on injuries affecting your team, visit WebMD.com. He is throwing still in California, and if there is an injury, the Rays could theoretically add him to their active roster. Here's Ryan Madsen, who has been outstanding setting up Brad Lidge here in 08 and really settled into this role. This is high, ball one. Bartlett, the number 9 hitter, has walked twice, stolen a base, scored a run, trying to start it for the top of the order. Iwamura and Upton will follow. Blistering fastball for strike one. Brad Lidge is getting ready, as is the lefty J.C. Romero. There have been, Tim, a number of missed opportunities, obviously, for the Phillies with their 9 runners stranded. But coming into this game, the Phillies would have taken this situation up by a run, bottom of the 8th, with Madsen on the mound and Lidge ready to back him up.
In effect, as we said, making it a 7-inning game. Madsen for 1, Lidge for 1.
The 2-1 pitch. Popped up right side. Playable for Ryan Howard. Plenty of room, 1 out. Back to the top of the order, Iwamura. The World Series on Fox is sponsored by the Ford F-150. Built Ford Tough. By WebMD. Better information, better health. And by BlackBerry. Iwamura's had a nice night. 3 hits and RBI. All 3 hits singles. Trying to reach in front of B.J. Upton.
In fact, 4 of the 5 hits against Cole Hamels were off left-handed batters. 3 by Iwamura and Carl Crawford with a home run.
Ball 1.
Madsen fastball, changeup. Rarely with a breaking ball.
Off the end of the bat. A ball and a strike. .23 home runs for this Tampa Bay Rays team this postseason. Good tailing fastball, 96, that just jumped over the inside corner.
I think Madsen's throwing harder this postseason. A little extra adrenaline. Perfect spot.
Iwamura fouls it. I said 3 singles for Akinori. He had the RBI double back in the 5th. As Tim said, 3 of the 5 total hits against Cole Hamels, who now will sit and watch and see if his Philadelphia bullpen is good enough to hang on to what is now a 1-run lead. The 1-2. 2-2.
There's the changeup, a pitch that Ryan has been throwing since he was 12 years old with his dad in the yard of Moreno Valley, California.
These 2 teams did not meet during the regular season during interleague play. So these hitters getting a fresh look here in 08 at guys like Madsen, who's got knee buckling stuff as the count runs full 3-2. The Rays would love to get Iwamura on and bring up Upton, representing the go-ahead run. '96. Now a visit from Ruiz to Madsen, who came up as a reliever. They tried him as a starter. And now, especially down the stretch, with Tom Gordon and his bad elbow unavailable, Madsen has settled into this 8th inning role and is about as good as any bullpen has to offer.
If a pitcher has 2 pitches, a fastball and a changeup, if the catcher goes to the mound, rarely does he come back and call for a changeup, because the pitcher has wanted to throw the fastball. I think he will get that here. Nope.
He was fooled by the changeup, and in right field, it's Worth. That's out number 2. And here comes B.J. Upton, who has just gone off here in the 2008 postseason. And you compare his numbers now to Carlos Beltran, Barry Bonds. Both had 8 in a single postseason. And B.J. has tied Troy Glaus. Then with the Angels, now with the Cardinals with his 7. And of course, players these days have more opportunities with more postseason series, the division series, the LCS, than players from decades ago. With 2 out, Upton could tie it with 1 swing, and that's strike 1. The Phillies will have the top of their lineup bat in the 9th. We talked about that twisted left ankle. It's kind of his kickstart to his swing, and right off that protective guard he's wearing for strike 1. Now the 0-1. How about that? 97. 0-2.
The Red Sox challenged Upton inside. You can see Ruiz setting up away. If you make a mistake away, it's a single. If you make a mistake inside to Upton, it's a risk of a long ball.
The 0-2. The ball. Another fastball. This one misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Again, Ruiz setting up outside, just off the plate.
And like it was with Iramura, a visit from Ruiz for Madsen. If you have just joined us, that's us, and here's our game summary. Chase Utley went deep, a 2-run shot in the first. Carl Crawford, a solo home run in the 4th, at the time made it 3-1. The Phillies have gone 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. 9 runners left on base. It's a 1-run Philadelphia lead, thanks to the pitching of Cole Hamels and now Ryan Madsen. 2-2 on Upton. The change up and off the end of the bat.
Johnny Gomes.
Two out, bases empty. 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Madsen with a perfect 8th. We go to the 9th inning here in game 1. Top of the order for the Phillies, who still lead it 3-2. Grant Balfour has already gone an inning and a third, and he's back out there for the top of the 9th. Top of the order for Philadelphia. Jimmy Rollins 0 for 4 tonight. And a 95-mile-per-hour fastball for a strike at the knees. Jason Worth will follow, and then Chase Utley. More action in each bullpen. How about 97 from Balfour now, and it's 0-2. Brad Lidge getting ready. Trevor Miller getting loose. High heat. Rollins is gone. One out here in the 9th inning.
High fastball gets Jimmy Rollins.
So one out in the 9th, and Jason Worth will be the hitter. More frustration for Jimmy Rollins. Worth has a double, a walk. He's 1 for 3.
Tell you, Joe, there have not been a lot of balls hit hard tonight. The home run by Crawford, the home run and the single by Chase Utley. But pitchers have so far dominated this game. Overwhelming stuff.
More of it. And these are guys that are on a World Series stage for the first time, who are rearing back and just blowing fastballs by these hitters. Way late on a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Worth's going to have to crank it up another notch. Two balls, 2 strikes. Now a full count with Utley, who's already homered, on deck, and Wheeler, the right-hander, joins Trevor Miller.
Pretty easy to figure out why Trevor Miller is warming up. He's there for Chase Utley and Ryan Howard.
A 3-2. And a line drive into right field. That is a fair ball and will skip out of play. A ground rule double for Jason Worth, his second double of the night. So 1 on, 1 out. And, well, buddy boy, we got ourselves a heck of a start to this 2008 World Series.
As we said, just dominating pitching. And there's no way that Grant Balfour is going to be able to stay in the game and face Chase Utley and Ryan Howard. I would think Trevor Miller's going to be in the game.
We'll see if that move is made. Right now, it's Utley digging his way in, and
not so far.
They may walk Utley. Utley went deep in the first. They're going to put him on here in the 9th. That started at 2-0 Philadelphia, and this will tell you all you need to know about how opposing teams are feeling about the approach and the swing of Ryan Howard. This is a guy who over the last 3 years has hit more home runs and driven in more runs than anybody in baseball. Led in both categories in 2008. And they're walking, the Rays are, Chase Utley to get to Ryan Howard, who could bust the game wide open with a long ball, or if his frustration continues, could help the Rays avoid any more damage.
2 years ago, when Ryan Howard won the MVP, it was Ryan Howard who was walked intentionally. And now his first World Series, they walk the hitter in front of Ryan to get to Howard. Now the left-hander.
So Balfour will exit. Trevor Miller will enter. And Ryan Howard will be on the spot for Philadelphia yet again. Again, tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. Now get over 130 of your favorite channels in HD. Tropicana Field. Sitting in St. Petersburg, Florida. And those who are here tonight or watching at home have been treated to an outstanding ball game. 3-2. Top of the ninth, 2 on, 1 out. Game 1 of the World Series, and here he is facing it again. Ryan Howard, who is hitless tonight, has drawn 1 walk. They left a runner at third. Struck out with 1 out in the 3rd. Struck out with Chase Utley at 3rd and 1 out in the 7th, and now he bats with runners at 1st and 2nd, 1 out here in the 9th. Trying to get some breathing room for Brad Lidge. Could erase a lot of frustration. It's been built up this postseason. Strike one.
And again, the breaking ball. Missed away, but Howard went too far.
8 for 34 this postseason is Howard. Still only 3 RBIs. You can hear Tim Welke, the home plate umpire, say that's a ball away, and it's 1-1.
Charlie Manuel says for Ryan Howard to get out of this funk, he should hit the ball the other way. You square the shoulder up that way. That's the only way to try to hit that slider off the plate away.
And strong enough to hit it out of any part of any park. Right down the middle for strike 2.
After 2 sliders, Howard gets the fastball.
Got him looking.
The worst thing in the world for a hitter is to be caught in between. There is nobody caught in between more than Ryan Howard. The 2 breaking balls, it's 1-1. He gets the fastball right down the pipe and another one.
Trevor Miller with a huge strikeout for the Rays. Another one on the ledger for Ryan Howard. 2 on, 2 out. Another pitching change. Here's Wheeler. Here's Dan Wheeler now. 3rd pitcher of the inning. Balfour, Miller, who did his job getting Ryan Howard looking with a fastball, and now Wheeler. At the plate is Eric Bruntlett, who took over. Pinch ran for Pat Burrell and then stayed in the game and played left. 1 for 3 so far this postseason. He could deliver a big hit for his Phillies teammates, or Dan Wheeler could keep this a 1-run game going into the bottom of the 9th with the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Pena, Longoria, and Crawford coming up.
Right before that last pitch, the right fielder Ben Zobrist was pulled in about 5 feet, and that's proper for Bruntlett, who does not have a lot of power the other way.
Back toward us, strike 2.
That was a pitch to hit. Eric wishes he had this fastball back.
Wheeler pitched for the Astros in the World Series in 2005, 2 games. Now trying to close out the top of the 9th for the Rays. The Boston Red Sox saw a procession in Game 7 in that 8th inning of the American League Championship Series. Five pitchers, 4 relievers to get out of the 8th. It ended with David Price, the 23-year-old, striking out Drew with the bases loaded, and then finishing off the save by getting through the 9th. That's why the Rays are here. Runners go, and no throw by Navarro. Couldn't get a handle on the baseball, and now a hit could mean 2.
Even if he had, there's no way to get Jason Worth. This Philly ball club, and Charlie Manuel talking before the game about trying to steal 3rd base. And coincidentally, Joe Madden was talking about the same thing. that third is easier to steal than second.
3 stolen bases tonight for the Phillies.
In 6 attempts. Meaning that the first 3 attempts, the ball was fouled back by the hitters. 2 by Victorino, 1 by Worth.
So the Phillies have stolen 10 bases this postseason. The Tampa Bay Rays have stolen 18. Again, the 1-2. Bruntlett pops it up. Into right. Iwamura is there. What a job by this Tampa Bay bullpen. And now Brad Lidge will take over for the Phillies. Bottom of the 9th, game 1. Phillies up 3-2. So now the Phillies hand the ball to Brad Lidge, who has been perfection personified this season, his first year with the Phillies. 41 for 41 during the regular season. Add 5 to it in the postseason. The main reason why the team is 79-0 when leading after 8. 86-0 including the postseason when leading after 8. And dating back to his last 3 attempts with the Houston Astros in 07, Brad Lidge has saved 49 consecutive games. On the other side, the Tampa Bay Rays will have the heart of their lineup bat in the bottom of the 9th. Have had 4 of their 7 wins this postseason. Been in the come-from-behind category for Joe Madden. Pena, Longoria, and Crawford will be the hitters.
2 of the first 3 hitters, left-handed batters. And the thing about Lidge, left-handers are not as inclined to swing at the slider as right-handers are. So Pena, Longoria, and Crawford, left-handers have hit .273 for the season against Lidge, and right-handed batters only .105.
Pena. Strike 1. Lidge worked in that clincher, game 5 of the NLCS on Wednesday night in Los Angeles. Did not get the save, but he got the final outs in a game started and won by Cole Hamels, which ended the NLCS, so he has had a 6-day layoff. The 0-1. Strike 2.
A lot of Lidge's sliders are in the dirt. Ruiz will have to block the ball.
And that's a big reason why the lighter hitting catcher Carlos Ruiz starts for the Phillies as opposed to Coast. The way he handles balls in the dirt. Specifically Lidge. The 0-2. Check swing. He went 1 away. Good start to the bottom of the 9th inning for Brad Lidge.
3 straight sliders to Carlos Pena. Too far.
That is a wicked pitch. It has as much drop to it as a good split-fingered pitch.
It's almost like you've heard that expression in baseball, a sinker slider pitcher. Well, those are 2 different pitches. With Lidge, it's the same pitch. It goes down and slides.
How about that tight slider for a strike to the rookie Longoria, who could give a jolt to this sold-out crowd at Tropicana Field. He's 0 for 3 tonight. He's hit 6 home runs this postseason. That's chopped off the plate. Strike 2. We were there at Yankee Stadium when Longoria was a part of the comeback effort by the American League. Kazmir got the win and Lidge got the loss after warming up 6 times He ended up giving a sac fly to Michael Young of the Rangers to end the night, and he suffered the loss, and the AL got home field advantage. So here we are, game 1 in St. Petersburg. The Phillies 2 outs away from getting a road win. A ball and 2 strikes on Evan Longoria. Two strikeouts to start the ninth.
Right-handers see it, and it dives out of the strike zone. 6 out of 7 make that 7 straight sliders to get Pena and Longoria. Man.
The Phillies' objective coming in, as it would be for any staff, was to try and keep the Rays in the ballpark. The only guy that's gone deep tonight is the man at the plate, Crawford. 23 postseason home runs now for this young Tampa Bay Rays team. They're down to their final out. The 1-0. 1-1. 3 hits for the leadoff hitter, Iwamura. But the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in this Rays lineup a combined 0 for 12. Crawford 1 for 3 with a home run in the 4th. The 1-1. And now Lidge is 1 strike away from striking out the side here in the 9th inning and saving his 50th consecutive game.
They call sliders like that cement mixers. Stayed outside.
Two and 2. If Crawford can reach, Willie Ibar is in the on-deck circle. Ball 3. If Crawford can reach with his legs, his speed, and his ability to steal bases, he could find his way down to second base, and the Rays could be a hit away from a tie. 3-2 pitch. Fought it off.
Especially in lieu of the fact that Lidge will be throwing sliders, and that slider is a very difficult pitch on which to throw out runners, because in order for it to be effective, it's got to be down in the strike zone, often in the dirt. That's why it's important for the Rays to get Crawford on.
3-2 pitch, and he just got a piece. Carl Crawford, 27-year-old, 25 steals during the regular season, 6 for 6 stealing bases this postseason. It would be more than just a glimmer of hope for the Rays if he could reach.
That's why the Phillies outfield in a no doubles defense, I'd play him regularly and forget about the double, because if Crawford gets on at first base, either a single or a walk, more than likely, unless the Phillies pitch out, he's going to steal second base. So there's no sense in trying to avoid the double here.
Another pitch on 3-2. Crawford pops it up. Down the left field line in foul territory, and the Phillies take game 1. Pedro Feliz backpedaling to squeeze it, and it's a 3-2 final.
Joe, think about the Phillies winning a game in which they stranded 11. And Ryan Howard stranded 4, and yet they win.
For history buffs, you'll remember that the Phillies, the only time they've won a World Series in 1980, had a 1-run victory in game 1 against Kansas City, a final of 7-6. Tonight it's 3-2, winning over the Rays. Hamels over Kazmir, the save for Lidge. in a well-pitched Game 1. Tonight's Chevrolet Player of the Game, Cole Hamels. Who else? 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, a couple of walks, 5 strikeouts. His performance was everything that Phillies fans wished for and then some. Go to worldseries.com/Chevy to score a virtual game ticket for your chance at a VIP trip to next summer's MLB All-Star Game. Let's go down to the field. Here's Chris Myers.
All right, Joe, Tropicana Field bears fruit for the Phillies in Game 1 with Chase Utley, the 2-run homer to get things started in this game. How important was it for the Phillies to get Game 1 here?
Well, that was the whole goal. You know, every game we go out to win. You know, we wanted to put some runs up on the board early. We did. We got a lot of hits. We got a lot of bats. We got a lot of base runners on, so it was a good sign.
Very calm. Scott Kazmir settled down, but you got him early for the home run. Obviously, the layoff didn't hurt you guys. Talk about the pitch.
It was a fastball, middle of the plate. I was just trying to put the ball in play, and lucky enough, I found the barrel and I found the seats.
You think we're going to see a lot more runs in this series or this type of game?
I think we're going to score some runs. You know, both teams have great offenses. I thought Cole pitched outstanding tonight, and our bullpen came in and did a great job.
Cole Hamels money. Thanks a lot, Chase Utley. Okay, Phillies on the fringe of breaking the game open. Fringe, good show on Fox. Instead, they win a tight one. Let's go over to Ken Rosenthal, who has the guy who saved it for the Phils. Ken?
Thanks, Chris. We're here with Brad Lidge. Brad, 1-run lead, the middle of their order. Your thought process in the ninth?
Don't change a thing. Just go out there and do what I've been doing all year. For whatever reason, you know, I'm feeling real comfortable in those situations, and you know, obviously I have a lot of confidence in Carlos with what he's calling, and thank God for the opportunity to get in the game tonight.
How impressed were you with Cole Hamels?
Well, I'm always impressed with Cole. I mean, he just seems to get better and better as this season progresses, and now it's to the point where, you know, we feel so confident behind him, it's unbelievable. He just continues to get better. He continues to just command pitches and keep the other team off balance. So when he goes out, we feel great about our chances.
They had the best home record in the majors this season. How important is it to get Game 1?
Well, it's huge. I mean, you know, you try and downplay it, but obviously you're coming in a place like this. You want to make sure you get the first game, especially because you got your ace on the mound. It's really important to do that. And, you know, Chase was huge with that 2-run home run early, and that got us off to a great start. And from there, I mean, when Cole has a 2-0 lead, he's not going to give it up.
Brad, thank you very much. Joe, back to you.
All right, Kenny, thank you very much. So a final of 3-2, Hamels over Kazmir. And the story of the game, Philadelphia stranded 11 runners, Tampa Bay only 3. Cole Hamels outstanding tonight in this Game 1, and he's now 4-0 this postseason for the Phillies. We'll take a break, come right back after a word from your local Fox station, and then Jeannie, Kevin, and Mark will be with you.
Welcome back to the Chevy post-game show on Fox. Chevy, an American Revolution. Philadelphia Phillies take Game 1, 3-2. Your final, joined now by Kevin Kennedy and Mark Grace, and we're watching this game together tonight, and it's missed opportunities for Tampa Bay, really.
It really is, and it's great pitching by Cole Hamels. Yes. We talked about him getting through some tough innings, and he's got that great changeup, and he faced a great hitter in Upton a couple of times. A couple of key double play balls were huge. I mean, right away in the first inning, a double play ball after Uemura got on first base, 4-6-3. And then in the third, this is key. Bases loaded, 1 out right here, a 5-4-3 double play. Again, it was a mix of the 92 fastball and a great changeup, and that turned it over right to the bullpen, Mark.
Exactly. Hamels did what he had to do. 7 innings, handed over to the best bullpen in the National League, Ryan Madson in the 8th, and Brad Lidge. This wasn't just a regular save. The meat of the order, that was Pena, that was Longoria, and Carl Crawford, the best 3 hitters, and he dominated them.
And guys, once again, the Phillies get a victory in the postseason, and we look at Ryan Howard, and we look at Jimmy Rollins, and we say, well, we're still waiting for you to show up. So it's an impressive night by the Phillies. You got a little taco sauce on you. It's not taco night in America yet.
Sorry about that.
Free tacos for everyone, Joe.
We love Taco Bell.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Jeannie. We look ahead to tomorrow night, Game 2 of this 2008 World Series, starting at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Brett Myers gets the baseball for Philadelphia. James Shields will start for the Rays. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. And so for more information on tonight's game and the latest in Major League Baseball news, log on to foxsports.com, powered by MSN, the world's favorite sports site. For all of us at Fox Sports, I'm Joe Buck. For Tim McCarver, Chris Myers, Ken Rosenthal, Jeannie, Kevin, And, of course, Mark Grace, so long from St. Petersburg, Florida. You've been watching Fox Sports, home to the 2008 World Series. Until tomorrow night.